Good afternoon.
What's up, man? Today we're going to talk about G.I. Joe figures from 1980. Did they start in 82 or 83?
82. I think I got my first G.I. Joe figure in 82. I think that's when I first started.
That's what I was going to ask you. Who's your favorite, or who's your first?
So I remember playing this day. I actually got two G.I. Joes for my first G.I. Joe. It's actually not even my first G.I. Joe. This is a whole story. My first G.I. Joe purchase, my first G.I. Joe
Wait, I
toy.
got a question.
Great.
Was it from a $5 check from your grandma for like your birthday,
No,
where you
but
could almost afford two Joes,
nope, but it was,
but you had to
but
buy a weapons pack instead?
it's actually really close. My grandmother uh, bought me my first G.I. Joe purchase at Kmart, which would lead to my next G.I. Joe purchase. But my first G.I. Joe purchase was the G.I. Joe Jump Jetpack setup. And it looked like it came with a figure because the cover had a guy in a jetpack off a little thing. And I was all excited. Oh, wow. So the very first thing I had was the G.I. Joe Jump Pack Jetpack. So literally the very first thing I played with, G.I. Joe wise, was taping the G.I. Joe Jump Jetpack onto Star Wars figures because they didn't have a hole in their back
Oh
for it to
yeah.
fit into. So like I can
I
remember
forgot. I
having
was thinking that was a mail-in.
no, I had it was a little table. It was I
I
would
had
love
it
to
too,
score
but
it.
mine came with Grand
Yeah, they made like a separate set, but
Slam.
there
Okay,
was
so
like
later.
it was just the launch pad and a little station, like a little
Yeah, that computer thing
yeah,
that
yep,
hooked onto it.
yep, and the little feet for the launch pad, and then the backpack, which was like the gem of it all.
Yeah,
And it was the
unless
same backpack design that would show up in the cartoons for the next years and years.
now,
Yeah,
which they still the 25th
little
anniversary
hoses.
figure
Yeah,
still
yeah,
come with it.
yeah. So that was that, and I taped it. But then like a couple of weeks later, um, maybe my grandmother's next Social Security check. We went back to Kmart.
Well, your grandma was probably young at this
He was retired. Anyway, the
time. I mean, it was
I was
82.
her youngest grandchild, so no, this is yeah. Anyway, the we went and I got short fuse and rock and roll. Those were all my first Joes.
See, I was collecting Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started when I was so I remember me and my brother saw the commercial for G.I. Wow, what's that? Those are cool. But my mom was like, "You're already collecting. We're on a budget." So
We're Star Wars
my
family.
brother got the Joes. So I think his first figure is rock and roll. No, I think his first figures. I think it was that Christmas he got Breaker and Snake Eyes. My mom like cleverly put them face to face, so when you wrapped them, you couldn't tell. Because
Mm-hmm.
she thought Snake Eyes because the first wave didn't have any bad guys in it,
Yeah.
so she assumed Snake Eyes was the bad guy. So she's like, "Well, why don't I get him a good guy and a bad guy?"
Yep.
So she puts them together. And it turns out there weren't any yet.
Yeah.
And then at some point he got rock and roll. I don't remember my first video. I think it was when I got the hiss.
I still have my first short fuse,
Really.
which is amazing because
I have my brother's rock and roll.
yeah.
He's busted up.
Yeah,
Like
no,
his
it's
fingers are gone.
my grandmother would put nail polish on the bottom of my figure's feet, so I could tell them from Rob's and I could tell them from the other friends that I had.
Didn't Rob used to write his name? Didn't he engrave
I think maybe because his dad had all kinds of weird tools. Rob had access to a rotating grinder, like a grinding wheel, as like a 6-year-old. You know, like so like oh like something wouldn't fit in somebody's hand or something. Like, grind it. Wow, that worked.
My friend used
You have those scraps of metal to make swords.
to
Oh, get another one. Like so weird, but yeah, I and somewhere along the line, that short fuse got separated from my other Joes, which probably saved his life because eventually I came back and so now here I am, 42 years later and still have it. Because I don't have the rock and roll anymore, but those are my first two figures. And then after, I think those are the only first wave figures I got were short fuse, rock and roll, and
Oh, I also got Zap. Zap my
Zap. He was that bazooka fighter. Right, yeah.
Look, I won $5 in a coloring contest. So
Oh,
I went and I got Scarlet.
that's a first wave figure. So by second wave, my mother was working at Weimart, and Bi-Mart had figures, and Bi-Mart was actually a little bit cheaper, I think, than most places. Yeah, 249. Star Wars figures were under $2, $1.90. I do remember when they started getting cheaper. There was the last wave. We were talking about this coming into this. There's this period of overlap where we played both Star Wars and GI Joe figures together. Star
For
Wars
me, it
figures.
seemed like I never had enough of either.
Yeah.
So like you kind of didn't have a choice. Like, do I want to play with these 10 figures or do I want to play with these 6?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Exactly.
or I could double the army up.
Yeah.
More or less.
When it came to vehicles, and I remember it so well for my 5th birthday. So Empire Strikes Back is out, Jedi is not, GI Joe has not came out. I got Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. That was like, and I had a couple of Star Wars figures at that time. And then in kindergarten for my 6th birthday, I got Slave One, Boba Fett's ship. Still mainly Star Wars figures. For GI Joe vehicles, I get the jump jetpack if that's considered a vehicle. Before I even get my first GI Joe, I'm trying to think what my first GI Joe vehicle would have been.
Yeah. By the way, we should just dip into the figures now.
Yeah.
And then
like the good stuff.
Explaining all the figures from memory. I even got file cards.
Oh shoot. When it comes to file cards, and this is awesome, you got price tags on some of these. Like however it is that we learned stuff. Because there's some of these first wave ones that have swivel arm battle grip and some that don't. So they're like second wave, first wave, or something,
Yeah, there's a weird. That's what got when I was trying to organize them because like some were the same year.
Yeah.
So it's like the swivel arm and straight arm were like the same year.
Yeah. So who knows when that happened? However it is that we learned things before the internet. But at some point in my childhood, I knew that the guy that wrote the comic books, Larry Hama, and the person who wrote the file cards were the same person. And at some point as a child, I thought that was cool. Like, oh, wow. And then I knew that whoever that was not who was writing the cartoons. I didn't know how I knew that either, but I knew that was not the same thing.
Remember the commercials for the comics?
Yeah.
Find out in the adventures of G.I. Joe from Marvel Comics.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I wanted to get the comics.
Yeah.
And you could buy the comic at like 7-Eleven.
Yeah, it would be. I think, I'm not sure, but I think like somebody could probably look this up. It was one of Marvel's like most, like they were hitting it hard with GI Joe. They sold a ton of those comics, and also, and I do know this from some comic book collecting. You have your barcode.
Little here and there.
You have your barcode comics, and then your direct editions that will have like a little Spider-Man space.
Spider-Man,
yeah. And amongst collectors, some people really like the barcode comic because that was a newsstand edition. But GI Joe, for example, it is not at all hard to find newsstand editions. Whereas for X-Men or some of these others, it actually kind of is because the people who were reading those were getting them to comic shops in mass. But they were sending tons of these barcode editions of GI Joe to every Minute Mart, every grocery store, every bookstore because it was read by people not necessarily who were comic book collectors, but just kids. Kids were just absorbing them.
Yeah, because the toys are so big and popular.
Yeah,
it was so popular.
It was absolutely the first comic I was into. Absolutely the first.
It's the one I realized it's one of the only comics I was really into. I thought I was like really into comics until the Marvel movies started. Then something I started watching these, and I was like, my mom had a bunch of Archie comics, but like the first like comics that I actually read, like went issue to issue and went back. I didn't start really buying them until like started 6th, 7th grade.
This is in great shape.
I know. I got this one that I was trying to put together because I didn't know I had this one, and he's all busted up. I was like,
this guy's a lot more par for the course.
Yeah, that's my brother's original rock and roll.
I was gonna say, is it ready to rain dance? Thumb's gone on this one, fingers gone on this one.
Yeah, he doesn't play guitar anymore.
No. I knew a guy named Shady playing guitar, and his hand was a lot like this, but he wasn't
naked. He was no rock and roll.
He was no rock and roll.
We didn't call him rock and roll.
No.
Grunt. Original grunt.
Original grunt.
There was only like 3 different, like the kind of Michael Ironside.
This is D.
Yeah.
What else?
Again? He's in a lot of stuff.
Wait. If this is Grunt, then who's this?
That's
Zap and Grunt have the same Michael Ironside face?
Yeah. They both. Yeah, this one's swivel. That one's not.
Arms are
Breaker with the rock and roll head. And there's the Steeler with the flash head and the original Hawk.
yeah, mail away, right?
Yeah. Because when I first got that figure, I was thinking of Short Fuse, but then I was like, wait, Short Fuse has a chest like Stabs.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, that's why he's blonde in the comics, because originally Hawk was blonde. He wasn't brown haired until like 86 or whatever.
Yeah.
Another Breaker.
This
There's a really good condition Cobra Commander.
hmm
And a little bit shit.
I mean, they originally went and they're like, well, okay, well, they are soldiers, so they should look kind of uniform. And then,
Well, yeah, it kind of made sense for them to use the same mold.
I mean, they are, yeah, uniform, man in uniform.
I mean, if you think about it, it's more ridiculous when they stopped.
Like Eco Warriors or
I'm
whatever.
going to wear a jean jacket with the sleeves cut off and nothing else on top.
You know, like they allow in the Marines.
Yeah. That's how we dress.
Like the most disciplined branch.
Snake eyes.
Oh yeah, there we go. I think it's in good shape too. His
Yeah,
face
except
is
for
a little chewed up.
You know why?
Uh,
What's the story behind that?
looks like somebody took the soldering iron to it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that actual head. But this figure, I had him not from childhood. And one day Joel came over and we were going to go somewhere. I had this entertainment center. And it had these doors that open and shut. And I went to shut the door and there was something blocking it. I was like, what is that? So I just kind of kicked it. And I heard a snap and this black thing flew by. I was like, what is that? And Joel looks at me and goes, you idiot! It was Snake Eyes' head. I was like, no way! I got a perfect condition Snake Eyes. And eventually I found another Snake Eyes head, but it's all burned up. It looks like how his face is supposed to look.
It does. Oh, that sucks.
So now whenever I feel resistance.
Let's see, where's the camera on it? You can't quite tell, but yeah, no, you can totally tell. It's all screwed up.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm guessing. After the success of the 82 line, when they came out with the second 83 line, they just said, from this set, Airborne. Airborne was absolutely one of my like my me guy for a while because he had a badass little M16, and his backpack looked all cool, looked like something you'd actually carry. His helmet was a little bit different than everybody else's helmet.
Major Blood was cool. Didn't have him back in the day. He's like the later ones, his arm was better.
Yeah. In fact, I think there was a time when I had both of these two, and they were both my guy, and this was just me in my scuba suit. By season 2, was running spends off-duty hours perfecting his fighting skills and marksmanship. Strict vegetarian, regarded by his teammates as highly competent professional, but has the personality of a cold fish.
You know what's great about Larry Hama? Because from my understanding is Hasbro designed the figures.
And then
they're like, here, explain this. He had to do the comic art.
like
And then they did
the exact opposite way you would do it.
And then they did the cartoon without him. All right, technical difficulties. Those microphones I have suck. They're fine until they turn off.
Although I was on a pretty, at this point, probably a pretty high airborne torpedo kick, this set definitely had like 3 of my favorite guys. Like, I remember the day I got Recondo and Spirit Iron Knife. These were all some of my highly played guys.
Spirit, I think Spirit is more controversial now.
You know, I'm not 100% on that.
Firefly was awesome though because he came with that backpack and you could take anytime you could do something like Dester's backpack opened.
Yeah, you know, I think actually Larry Hama had. I know he acted a lot. He had been like he was in MASH and stuff as like an extra. I think he'd been in other stuff, and I think he played all sorts of individuals. But I don't even have to look at this, and I probably haven't read this file card in I don't know how many years. But somewhere on this file card, it mentions that Spirit Iron Knife was so far below the poverty line, he didn't even know he was poor, or something loosely paraphrased.
Spirit comes from a family so far below the poverty line that they never realized they were poor. How'd you like that in your file? So poor, he didn't even know he was poor.
Anyway, I liked him.
Like any detail that they could do that Star Wars wasn't doing, just made it awesome. It was like Star Wars ain't touching any. Star Wars is making jackets.
Well, and by this point, Star Wars was done with the exception of the Power of the Force. That was the last set that came out in '84. Oh yeah, that's about broke.
Yeah, and other than that, he's perfect.
Yeah, other than that, he is perfect.
I have his mask and his backpack. Yeah, this is right around when the Cobra was better than the Joes. They had better characters. Like Destro was always my favorite character, but this when they got Zartan and Firefly.
So this is Ripcord, and this is the Thunder driver. What was his name?
Thunder.
No,
Wasn't it?
Was the Rolling Thunder? No, the Rolling Thunder was something else. This guy's name was Thunder. What was the vehicle he drove?
Slugger.
The Slugger. So his name was Thunder.
My brother had the water moccasin.
Which one of these is John Wayne or was based on John Wayne?
I don't know. Ripcord, a cool character.
Yeah, Ripcord was cool in the comics.
Yeah,
in the comics, they made Ripcord really cool. He had that thing with the candy and the bear and all that. Yeah, that was a cool story arc. Turns out Larry Hama can write.
Yeah, he had a lot of good storylines. Some of them were like Cobra Commander's storyline in the comic is crazy.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
Like what?
It's just like John Wayne. He looks so much like John Wayne that this action figure looks racist. Especially considering it came out with Spirit, you know. Like
Paris is actually a cool figure.
Paris is an awesome figure,
especially considering how old she is.
Yeah.
It's like they did a good job with her. Scarlet was a cool figure too.
Well, if you look at how many of these figures probably have like multiple reprints. Zartan, Duke, I guess
the
main ones
that
probably.
Baroness, I just got one.
Storm Shadow, Firefly probably has several reprints. Roadblock. There's a lot of people here that have several reprints. Baronesses, they've changed hardly anything. She looks the same every single time.
Oh, you mean actual like
they just
new figures?
New
completely.
figures.
Yeah. They've redone this. Like there's that blue Ninja Viper. Like turquoise or whatever.
I'm just mean remake the whole character, remake a whole figure, make them look totally different. Every time they remake her, they just go right back to the same basic stuff.
Yes. Costume wise, They never change that. They might change the color. She's had red. They've had blue. They've done like how she looks in the cartoon, but they've never changed.
But for the most part, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, and Cobra Commander's similar in that way. Who Cobra Commander looks funny.
Oh, Rattler Pilot.
Yeah, Wow Weasel.
Oh yeah. Was he originally a mail away?
Yes. And this is hands down the lamest figure. Deep Six.
His vehicle was rad.
Yeah,
it was really rad.
I got it way after the fact, so it didn't have the pump and do whatever it was supposed to do. It was supposed to like...
the pump sucked up a bunch of water into it, which would make it sink. Or maybe that's how he worked. The vehicle floated. That's what's right. The vehicle floated. He would float, but you could also use the pump to suck a bunch of water into him so he'd sink. And then you could use the pump to pump all the water out, and he'd float back to the top. But yeah, he was lame.
That's when the Irish came.
Destro must be mighty secure. He hasn't even a guard out here.
This part.
Everything about him. Look at his strong face. I
really want to be really sharp and focused, but I feel like I didn't know this guy when he rode my school bus.
He was the upperclassman that didn't talk.
Yeah.
Nobody messed with.
Yeah, and his family bought that old house and his dad remodeled it. On the corner, kind of by the fire station.
Had a comb in his back pocket.
Because that doesn't just happen.
You're keeping that all day.
Yeah, no kidding.
I should have pulled Junkyard out of here.
Yeah, this was a great figure. This was fun. Started coming with stuff like animals and dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it's like the accessories that they started coming with. Like Hasbro kept it pretty interesting the whole time, where they were always they're always getting better until the 90s.
Well, because so he came with the Eagle, Freedom.
Yeah, how many animals we get this series? Just two. We got Freedom. We got a Junkyard.
Yeah. He didn't come with an animal, but he came with a little rocket launcher set.
Yeah,
That was pretty
Joel
badass.
had him in 3rd grade.
Yeah. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then Wakanda didn't come with a lot. He came with a really simple backpack, and then his rifle looked like it was like wrapped in like some kind of not a ribbon, but like some kind of cloth wrap around it or something. But it looked really cool. I remember getting him. I remember Dave Shawcross's grandmother bought him for us. We all went to Toys R Us, and she bought me him. I remember that super well. Great figure.
Roadblock was cool. He came with the
Tripod
that attached. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
little
like, he was
mess
extra
kit.
cool. And he didn't look like the original infantry guys, but he came with the original infantry helmet.
Yep.
So it was cool that they weren't changing it that much.
Yeah.
I think Duke was the same way.
He had the original infantry helmet too, but it had a mask that clipped over
Because you
it's
could get him
weird
in
rubberized backpack that like he didn't have. It wasn't a plug-in backpack. It was like little rubber straps.
It was a wraparound, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Halo
and then
jumper.
like weapon packs. Weapon packs would change the colors of everything.
Yeah.
So you'd get like his helmet that was like pine green when it came with him.
Yeah.
It was like beige.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, cool. Can't even tell that I lost the original one.
Her rifle, if you cut off the stock, looked like the rifle that the Cobras had, or looked close to the rifle the Cobras had in the cartoon. Not exactly, but enough that every time her rifle showed up in a weapons pack, snip, all down the stock, and it showed up a lot because her original one I think was black, and I probably still have a red.
I think I have a white one.
There's blue ones. They're everywhere. Copperhead. He's a cool looking dude. He was one of the first ones that I remember looking at and thinking, dude, that dude's buff.
Yeah, he was, because he didn't have triceps. They didn't have triceps yet. Triceps weren't.
Sergeant Slaughter, maybe?
Roblox had a little bit. The Dreadnoks had puny arms.
They did
Zartan
kick your ass,
had
you said that.
slings.
Yeah. Zartan had abs.
Yeah. Actually, he had a pretty weenie chest, though, because this piece comes off. And he looks kind of like a. What does Zartan look like? Does he?
Yeah, no. No, he looks a little emaciated, you're
He
right.
looks like me in high school. Just for.
It's so funny what like like used to pass for physically imposing used to be.
Yeah. Well, it's like what was considered fat, 30 years ago. You see them and they're like, kind of fat. John Candy wasn't that fat. Like, if you look at John Candy, he's a little overweight. I wouldn't call him fat, though. I mean, don't need to be mean about it. You can hit a treadmill once in a while, but I mean, no reason to shame the guy.
Yeah, that's a really actually a great point.
I do have a Cobra Commander story in this figure. Me and my friend Eric, he's my best friend in 3rd grade and 4th grade. Somebody gave us this Cobra Commander figure, but he gave it to us. He wasn't like, here, Eric, you can have this. And he was like, here, Damien, you can have it. And he wasn't like more my friend or anything. You just, for some reason, gave him to us. So we're like, well, who gets to take him home? And all this stuff. So finally Eric says, I know how to solve it. He just threw it on the roof of Martin Elementary School, King's School. There, no, nobody can. I was like, what's wrong with you?
It's a terrible
why
solution.
would you do that? So at some point, somebody probably, because they tore that school down a couple of years ago to remodel it. I imagine somebody found that figure. It's probably all weathered and messed up. It was like, remember that show, The Master?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ninjas were the thing, in '83.
Yeah. They had a minute. So you had Ninja Magazine. That was like whatever.
I'm now realizing what a dumb question that was. Have you seen The Master? I was on The Master.
Well, because you'd be on the school bus and flip through Ninja magazine just to the back half where it would just be just pages upon pages of ninja weapons for order. And I don't know what anybody thought they were going to do with these. I don't think anybody ever ordered them.
Occasionally, somebody would show up to school with a Chinese star.
And you'd be like, ha!
Check this out. I can throw this. Like,
it's pretty
where
awesome.
it's going to go.
Like, there'd be like a grappling hook. And you'd be like, oh, wow, that's pretty awesome. Until you're halfway up, whatever the you're going to be up. And then like, you realize it's not like, rated. Like one of those little collapsible grappling hook times. Goes,
That's pretty cool till you look down.
but dead at the base of a 3-story apartment complex in your little ninja socks.
The school I went to in 1st and 2nd grade, they had a thing in PE where they had a rope that it was on the stage and it went all the way to the ceiling, and they would make kids see who could climb the highest. Which scared me. I didn't get very high, but some kids would climb almost to the ceiling. Yeah. And like looking back at that, it's like, you know how crazy that is? The kid's 30 feet in the air on a rope.
And he's top heavy. Yeah, his head still represents 30% of his total body
And
weight.
he's not a specialist.
And neither are you.
The only rope climbing experience he had
is this
like
morning.
He's climbing against a wall and his feet are touching. This is in the middle. There's nothing. If he lets go, he's not going to hit anything on the way down. He's just climb up there.
He can choose to end it.
He could. I remember there was one kid that climbed up and he was scared to come down. He realized he was like a cat in a tree. He's like, come down. He's like,
oh, come down.
like because he didn't look down the whole way up.
Yeah, he just kept
going.
going.
I was like, oh, like because he trusted.
He trusted the system. He trusted the
the
teachers, the staff, the
It's
faculty.
like nothing can go wrong. I'm going to be a hero. I'm going to be the guy that gets tired. And then the teacher's like, how are we going to get him down?
Send another kid up there.
We got that tennis net.
Get out the parachute.
Everybody grab Are we going to play crab ball? No. This is where those crab ball skills come into play. We got to say little Tommy.
Hurry! Hold your end. Don't let go. That's when we started getting real wild.
Yeah, heads are going up and down.
Heads are going up and down. Equipment is through the roof. I think this was one of the first figures I got from this set.
He had all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Flippers. Because Torpedo had flippers.
Yep.
We overlooked Snow Job, because Snow Job had his skis.
Yeah,
which was pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
You're always like, oh yeah, I hope it snows this year. See if those skis work.
This is also when the cartoons started going nuts. The cartoon series, and this is when Snake Eyes came out, and by forever was only this character.
Yeah, that's when he came with Timber.
Yep.
This is the Dusty I just got a couple weeks ago at the toy convention.
Oh. Yeah.
He's actually in really good shape, except that he's missing paint on his leg. But other than that,
oh,
he's in good shape.
missing some paint there.
I know it's weird because like he's not like somebody's Snake Eyes head where it's like you can tell something happened. Quick kick. This is actually the mail away quick kick from like 92.
Oh.
The original one's 92. You can tell they're plastic.
Oh yeah. Yep.
He's like a cheaper looking plastic.
Yeah, I can see.
But this is the original one.
Yeah.
Crimson Guard, they're some of my favorites. As far as like, they weren't actually Vipers, but as far as like henchmen, I always liked them. Some of them look really good. Look how good condition this one is. She got his Cobra.
Mm.
My brother he would take Scotch tape whenever he got new Cobras, and he'd tape over the insignia.
Mm.
That way it would protect it.
Oh, that's smart.
How about Snow Serpents? Fan or no?
Oh, no, I like those.
They had good gear.
Yeah. They come with a snowboard, or was that somebody else? That was later.
That was the series version 2.
Yeah.
They came with like you could clap up the little snowshoes that you could clip on their feet. They're like tennis rackets kind of.
Yeah.
They had some good gear.
Oh, he was awesome. He came with killer gear. Alpine.
Yeah.
Came with double set grappling hooks.
Well, I also liked him, Bazooka, and
Big
Quick Kick together on the cartoon. They were an awesome little trio.
Yeah.
Remember when Quick Kick beat up Storm Shadow when they met him?
Yeah.
Storm Shadow. I know. I watched Storm Shadow beat up a tank in front of the Dreadnoks. This Hollywood actor comes in, stuntman comes in.
I know.
Like, what? Who may or may not be Asian.
Like, watching
the
Brad,
cartoon wouldn't commit.
it's like watching Brad Pitt beat up Bruce Lee. Like,
that seems reasonable. We still had some non-up and down heads because the Dreadnoks were part of this year,
yeah.
but their heads didn't move them down. Monkey Wrench was the first.
Yeah, because I got.
To move his head up. And
Yep, because I definitely got Dreadnoks before these guys.
Monkey Wrench was the first Dreadnought that couldn't look up. But I always loved the original Dreadnoughts. My friend Andy did point out to me, he's like, were they like inspired by Mad Max? Because it seems like that was kind of a similar time period. It's like, I never thought about it, but it makes sense. They're Australian.
Yeah.
Punks and
Yeah.
It could be. Although I was reading in I don't remember who said it. It wasn't Larry Hama, but it said that they were inspired by the Ewoks. They were just supposed to be these goofy counterparts, like Ewoks.
No, it was the Golden Girls.
Oh, but that's the bad thing about the Zartan, to bring back 1983. You can't, you take the screw up and you can't take them apart.
What?
No. That's why I haven't changed his O-ring. I'm going to.
What do you mean?
That'll probably be it. Him and Xandar and Zorana, they're like glued together.
Oh.
And they have a screw. All three of them turn green. There's something about their plastic you can't. So I'll probably do a video when I do change it, showing people, because there's a lot of people don't know how to do it.
Right or wrong way.
And I'm going to learn how to do it on camera, because I do want to get them a new thing. But yeah, if you unscrew them, you can't pull them apart. Barbecue.
He had probably too much cartoon time, but when we're talking about too much cartoon time, here we go.
Oh, Shipwreck.
Shipwreck.
Well, it was actually kind of a cool figure.
I just figured his voice actor was the cheapest. Honestly.
I've actually been watching, because Tubi has all the G.I. Joe cartoons, so I've been watching them like all week when I go to bed, so I wake up to them. And Shipwreck, he kind of...
The MacGuffin device is a good Shipwreck story.
What's a MacGuffin device? Top secret, Swabby! So you don't know either.
Well, he took over a lot of stuff. Like, he did a lot of stuff that Gung Ho did. You'd think Leatherneck would have been the Gung Ho replacement, but Shipwreck was more of a Gung Ho replacement, and he was just kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
Airtight.
Yeah.
His character was cool in the cartoon.
Yeah.
The figure sucked. I mean, it didn't suck, but it's like...
It's weird. He came in a vacuum. You know, like...
Well, I hate it when they'd have the cartoon, because the cartoon basically is an advertisement for the toy.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are you going to have... You made a whole series of figures, but you made it so that their helmets can come on and off. And then you got this guy who had so much screen time, none of which he has a helmet on.
No.
Just like Torpedo.
Yep.
And the worst foul, I think, is Ace. Ace in the cartoon looks so much cooler than any of the Ace figures. He looks so much... It's like, can I get a figure? Can you just make a figure that looks like he looked in the cartoon? Because he looks cool.
Well, they finally did that for her, too, because her cartoon figure was way cooler than...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the 25th anniversary Lady Jane.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They're like on point.
Yeah, this was pretty stupid, actually, in hindsight. I love but I love this figure. Once this came out. So, this series also dropped some awesome vehicles. Awestriker. Huh, awesome.
I have so many Outstrikers.
Yeah.
That are
It's
not
great,
the original.
Great figure.
I have a ninja. I have one with an Arashikaji logo on the hood.
And it's like the Spider-Man.
I didn't put it on there either.
I know.
It came that way.
It's like
It's kind of like Roblox, the rock figure coming with a tattoo on his arm with the Arashikaji. You ever seen that?
No.
They totally put that on there. It's like, you guys... Who let you make this movie? Like, that's...
He's like, "Can I get the tattoo?" And they're like, "Ah, sure."
Yeah, him and Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes got drunk one night.
Yeah, like, do it, dude.
Yeah, he's cool. I let him in. Not like he killed your uncle or anything.
Jeez.
This is a cool figure, and I can't remember his name. But like as far as looks wise went, it was kind of cool when you just had a guy that was camouflaged well.
Yeah, it kind of
And
like
you started losing
like
that.
a
So when
military dude.
yeah, like when you take them outside and you play and you want to kind of like set up scenes outside and make them blend in. It's like,
Like, yeah, not the right guy for the job. Maybe no.
yeah, you have Footloose, which I didn't realize. I thought I didn't have this Footloose figure anymore.
Oh, that's good
I
for
was
this.
looking
He came with a rad gun too. He just had the grenade launcher under the M16.
Yeah, and he had the cool helmet with all the
Brush.
yeah. He was also another. He was like a total stoner. He was a cool character.
Yeah.
Man, you must be deeply deluded, man. It's like, why? Remember him? That's how he talked. He was like the Shaggy of G.I. Joe.
Right.
But he was cool and he got a lot of airtime.
This is the Ostriker driver, right?
Yep. Crankcase.
Yeah, it's crazy because that vehicle didn't need a driver. Like,
No.
it's a car.
Only I can drive this. Why is that?
It's a car.
That was one cool thing about G.I. Joe as opposed to Star Wars, though, is that the vehicles always came with a figure. So it was like that bonus where it's like, cool, I'm getting a figure.
Well, and some of them make sense, like the hovercraft. Yeah, it's a big vehicle, and you gotta have a guy on the side to drive it, and then all the other people hop into different roles in the vehicle.
Yeah.
But like the Jeep.
Yeah, there's certain things it worked better with Cobra because it's like
Yeah, or pilots. I mean,
it's like you can have like a lot of his tank drivers that can be many different people, but it's like if you get 5 Ostrikers, like what am I gonna do with the other 4 crankcases?
yeah,
It's like, I don't
especially
need
when
4
it's
crankcases.
It'd be one thing if it looked like Grunt, but it's like look,
Yeah,
just so happened
it'd
that
be just
redheaded mustachioed man.
Wrong series, bro. You're supposed to be in
Yeah.
84.
84. That's when you guys peaked.
He looks like he's needs lederhosen. He looks like he's going to Oktoberfest. Look at his outfit.
He's going. He looks like he's hosting it. It's like I'm prosid.
Who's driving?
Not him. Striker driver. Striker to that is damn driver. Jeez. These guys got a lot of cartoon time. I remember walking in,
The figure was so stupid.
I remember walking into Weimar and just seeing rows and rows of these guys. That was all that was left. Like the wave, like a box of 24 was like 9 of these guys, and then everybody else.
I have like 5 or 6 more.
Yeah.
I just didn't see a point in bringing them up. Their heads were stupid, but they were always. I really love drawing those guys. I like drawing their heads.
Yeah.
Like their body and everything's fine, but their heads look so goofy. But that's kind of what was fun about them because you can make them be wimps. They're just like these nerds.
This is a hydrofoil by Lamprey.
Yeah. They did make a newer one of him, like 25th anniversary. He's pretty cool. Like his face piece can come off.
Yeah.
He looks almost exactly. They pretty much kept him exactly the same. They just made him better.
It was a cool vehicle.
Yeah.
Not quite as cool as the Whale and Cutter.
No.
File name Skip A. Stone.
Is that, really?
Yeah.
Is that a bad joke or is that?
No, that's his name. And
Or
yes,
both?
both. Both can be true. It is his name, and it is a bad joke.
Well, that was the thing, because, like...
Well, yeah, because it hovers, doesn't skip. It's not like, like...
Skip a stone.
They'd make some vehicle that skipped across the water later. I'm sure. Frostbite. This is exactly like Dave Shawcross's dad. As soon as he got this, it's like, oh, there's your dad. Who would like to drive a truck in the snow? So it worked out. This was an awesome vehicle because the back hatch opened, and there's a lot of space in there. You could just cram a bunch of
In the snow?
Snowcat.
Snowcat? Really? Because I got 2 of them.
Yeah. So you had the little missile rack,
Yeah.
and then there was a place for him to stand with a little handrail. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that whole piece pops off.
Really? Oh, wow. I totally did not know that.
What? How'd you not know that?
I didn't have it as a kid.
And you put backpacks or whatever.
And when I bought it, this is the one from like 2000.
Yeah. Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah,
See?
it's dusty. You're right.
And then the
Somebody say dusty.
Where's the wiper? God, that's dumb.
Oh, the wiper. I don't know. This one's got the wiper on it though.
Yeah. Is that the Jungle Force Snowcat
Tiger Force.
or Tiger Force Snowcat?
Dumbest.
Like rebranding.
We're a whale away from that. The only cool thing about like, Python Patrol at least looked. Some of it kind of looked cool, but Tiger Force just looks stupid. This vehicle doesn't look bad, but the figures.
Desert Deep Six.
I'm gonna have to take it off, but I want to break it.
And little thing at the bottom.
Nice. I didn't know that. A friend of mine just gave this to me recently.
Do you know? Wait. Okay. So you know the whale, the one that came with skip base down. Yeah. Hook those on top first.
Okay. Got it.
But that was a great vehicle because it held so many dudes on it. Like they could be hanging off it.
The whale?
Yeah, and the whale was
The hovercraft?
Yeah, the hovercraft.
Yeah, I was gonna buy one for $100 at the toy convention.
Yeah, you should have.
I know.
That dude never called me back about that game a lot.
You didn't.
No. I bet he still thinks a bunch of people want it.
He's holding it out.
I'm gonna call him like Christmas, like the day before Christmas.
Hey, it's me again.
You know that game that's you can hold on to.
Like better up there. Just start following around. Fantasy Forest.
I want my fantasy
Forest. I only spent, well, including admission, I spent like $80 total.
Yeah, including admission and parking, I spent $7 or $11 total. Did not buy a thing.
Yeah, because of that stupid game. Well, not stupid, but that game ruined your whole trip.
The game ruined my whole trip.
If you wouldn't have saw that, you would have walked out with a bunch of cool stuff. But instead, you're like,
Oh, that game.
you just spent 5 hours plotting. Walked out at the end. I mean, in hindsight, it's cool that you didn't blow $60 or 75.
Oh, yeah. I plan to get that game, and I plan to get it for way less than he plans to sell for. That's where we see him pass. He drove the Mauler, right?
Yeah.
And did he have a little thing that fit into this? Is there?
I think he did. I think somebody was trying to sell him for like $1,000. They were
With
like,
that?
yeah, because it had that piece. And it was like a mail-in that wasn't with the Mauler, but it was like the same time period or something. But I was like, it's okay. I might technically be a nerd, but I'm not that much.
I'm a nerd.
Yeah, it's like, who are you going to impress with that? Hey, check this out.
Look, he's got the little mic.
See that little thing
No,
there? $950.
no, right there.
Look.
No,
Look!
no. Oh, on the chin strap? No, above the chin strap.
Next
The mustache? Next to the mustache. You can't see what we're talking about. There's a little spot for a little mic.
See that-
to go-
see
that little,
see
like,
that
right, that little hole. That glaring hole. Six. I mean, I remember wetsuit. I remember the. Okay. Let me jump right in because I do remember.
86 was a big one.
I still lived at the condominiums right by the Weimar that my mom worked at.
I lived in condominiums in 86.
This.
Not by Weimar, though. I modified them. That's actually Wetsuit's head from 93.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a different head
And I painted his. I actually found paint first try that was the same.
because the other one had the all plastic head.
Yeah, and you
couldn't
can't tell.
tell.
Like, here's his backpack.
Okay.
I walked into Walmart because they have the little paint you can buy for like 79 cents.
Well, that just totally broke my experience.
And I nailed, sorry. But I nailed the color.
Yeah, good job.
And it comes off because it's the head from.
96.
Yeah. And it works as a figure.
Yeah, it
You
does.
take his helmet on and off. Because he never wore his helmet in the cartoon unless
Never
he went
did.
in water.
Never did.
Yeah, that Jufro. Can I say Jufro? He did.
I feel so. With the climate being what it is. I mean, I really don't feel as bad about that one.
I don't know why it's bad. They say it. It's funny, I didn't notice that as a kid, but I was watching it last week and I'm like... It's like, how do you take your helmet off and you got this perfect... Like, his helmet should have a sound effect when he takes it over.
It's a separate helmet he puts on.
He comes with a hairpiece.
So,
Like the figure.
but I'm outside. Thinking it's got to be 5th grade. Thinking, and there's a kid out there, and he's just got the package. He's clearly just opened it. He's like visiting an aunt or somebody. I never see these kids, but I've seen him before, but I don't really know him. And it's wetsuit, and I'm like, it's a new Joe. And at this point, I'm like, there shouldn't be new Joes that like,
What do you kids have the internet? Or
yeah, like what's going on? How
it's 86.
I'm the forefront of G.I. Joe knowledge. There should not be a whole lot going on that I don't know about yet. And I remember looking at the back of the package and just being blown away. I think this is one where they would still have some like blacked out. Do you remember when that would happen on the back of a package?
Oh, because they released them a little time.
Yeah.
So like there'd be like 20
New ones.
rectangles, but only like 12 would be lit up, and you'd be like, "Who are the others?"
Yeah. Exactly.
Star Wars did that too.
Yeah.
Just not as eloquently.
Yeah,
they just
used just silhouette.
black blob, black. Blob.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So that's what happened with this. I remember being like, "Holy crap!" And I think low light, leatherneck, and dial tone were among the first that I got out of this.
I got Beachhead and Dial Tone the same day.
This is
ones I got.
This is a dial tone also with the mustache rubbed off.
I immediately took his mustache off the day I got him. That's not even the same one, but
So
every Dial Tone I get, I take the mustache off.
Somewhere I
got them
have-
two the same day though. And it was a good score. I did it because they both came with. They looked cool and they had cool gear.
He came with awesome gear. He came with a little bag and a
little
killer.
purse.
Yep, and that killer little
Satchel.
yeah, and the killer little machine gun that looked like it took these clips and the ones on the satchel.
Yeah, the gray one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it always had like, what was that vehicle called? That water vehicle called?
Yep, Devil Ray.
Yeah.
There's an awesome cover
Yeah.
with Mike Zett cover. I think it's him and Hawk on the Devil Ray. There's also a
the
cartoon.
commercial.
Yeah, a commercial for the comic.
Okay.
Yeah, and it says, "Follow the adventures of G.I. Joe in the comic." It like spins forward and shows that cover, and it's just like, and it's just Mike Zeck was just absolutely prolific with G.I. Joe covers, but that is among his best.
Yeah.
And it just you could tell it skip along the water, they're shooting, they're yelling, they're all packed onto the sides of it, and you just look at it and you're like, golly, like
I want that stupid vehicle because
Yeah.
the vehicle really wasn't that cool.
it wasn't, but
It wasn't bad, but
held
it's
the
like,
guy, held two more guys on the other side, and it was affordable.
although
They did a great job about making something like, well, this,
yeah, I mean, if you think about it at this point, the water line of G.I. Joe, you got the hovercraft, water moccasin, Double Ray, hydrofoil. It's like, too bad none of these things actually float. I gotta get a blue blanket. Pretend that I'm in the water. You can't see the frogman. He's under the water. Put different arms on Serpentor just because it was more like the comic that
This is
was.
a different cape too, right?
Yeah, it's Mindbender.
Mindbender's cape, yeah. A couple of Mindbenders here.
Yeah, I got this really poor condition Mindbender. Then I got a better one. It says it's sci-fi.
Yeah, he had some cartoon time too. Wasn't one of my favorites.
No. Low light.
Low light came with a cool rifle and cool little setup.
Yeah,
But
he was a weird character.
I remember I got him for Christmas, I think, in 5th grade. Got him a little later in this arc. Hawk was also my guy for a while. Hawk was the first guy to dethrone Snake Eyes, but by this point, my Snake Eyes, I think, had both thumbs broken.
Oh, I thought you meant like in the cartoon.
No, dethrone him as
I don't
in
remember
the guy that I was being.
Yeah.
Me. And that's probably because at that point, my Snake Eyes couldn't hold any weapons. I think I probably had already put somebody else's arms on him, honestly.
That was also the cool option you had with G.I. Joe is that you could take their arm.
Yeah, you could put Scarlet's arm
on
on a bat if you need to in a pinch. Bat was cool because they had the little hands that came off.
Yeah,
they saw a lot of love in the cartoon too.
Yeah,
and it allowed them to just start blowing people to bits.
Yeah, they could kill without killing.
Yep.
Which is funny because the bats are supposed to be like zombies.
Yeah.
They were more like, for the cobras, if they were like, we need to get out of here, they'd unleash bats.
Yeah.
Because if they stick around, the bats are going to go after them as much as they would the Joes.
Eventually.
So it's like the bats would keep the Joes occupied while they escaped. Occasionally they'd retreat.
Thunder Machine, great vehicle.
Yeah.
This guy looks like Gary Shandling.
Not a very cool figure.
He does. He looks like an evil Gary Shandling.
He was kind of a cool character in the comics. Not a lot of airtime in the cartoon.
Lifeline.
Lifeline? Lifeline! Lifeline!
This figure is actually like so cool and unplayed with. But like his condition and everything. But a lot of, like the
like how small his head must be to fit in that helmet.
Monkey Ranch.
Yeah, his aviators, and kept with the blue jeans for solidarity with the other dreadnoughts.
Yeah,
They had great like a light 80s washed blue jean, like a light blue jean. I almost wore mine.
The bandana tied around.
Yeah. They went on both.
Yeah. Sometimes they were.
And no kidding.
Could wear the most bandanas. They were like weird biker. He's dumb enough to wear grenades.
They were just Motorhead, weren't they?
Pretty much. Well, it's like the people making the figures were out of touch, so they were like, they didn't know there was a difference between punk and like.
This man got a rebel flag belt buckle.
Cross country.
Yeah, cross country.
Not the whole country.
Yeah,
Just the south.
just yeah. And then God, who does he look like? Help me out here.
This looks like a dork.
Yeah, but no, it looks like a specific dork from a specific thing. But yeah, he does look like a dork. The hat doesn't help. Look at him a little.
I was.
He's like, yeah, I was part of the Confederacy. Well, at least my grandpappy was. But now I fight the forces of evil.
He looks like when he's not fighting the forces of evil, he's reenacting the Civil War.
Which, wherein he, well, if you ask him, is fighting the tyrannical forces.
Well, I was about to say this is where they got the proportions way better on the figures,
Like right now.
and then you pulled him up.
Yeah.
I was like, But he looks like kind of the dopey like dad. Like, hey, guess what? We're going camping.
Yeah.
We're gonna go on a hike.
Cross Country has retired from the G.I. Joes. He currently occupies his time arguing about states' rights on the internet.
Now he comes with a laptop.
And a lot of opinions. Not a lot's changed except the size of the belt buckle and the. Now he has a bunch of flags hanging off the Havoc. He's all, don't read at me. I mean, tread on me.
Sergeant Slaughter.
That's Big Joe.
Sergeant Slaughter always just annoyed me. I just thought he was a dork. I didn't grow up watching
wrestling.
pro wrestling really. I'd watch it. Like it would come on after cartoons on Saturday. I'd watch a little bit, but when he like, and we'll talk more about that with G.I. Joe's a movie because he's a big part.
He is a big part of that.
Huge.
He did make me want to start making my Joes wrestle though. just like
He made
quick
me wanna
kicking
make my
and
Joes
so
beat him up.
yeah, it started making him want to do flying sidekicks. But he's big, and he got triceps.
Yeah, he had a weird. Yeah, and he looked nothing like that in real life.
No, he was just
Yeah, he probably had the biggest arms at that point.
yeah.
Because next series is like Big Boa and Raptor.
They gave him a whistle. What is he? He's the G.I. Joe drill sergeant.
Yeah. He whistles at people. It says Eddie's disease.
Eddie's disease. That was a re-release, right? This is the original one. One's a mail. They were all mail.
I think this is the mail order of the original. Yeah, they were. And then one came with a vehicle, and then you could take his hat off.
Sergeant Slaughter's
It's his oversized wheelchair.
oversized wheelchair. Is the real Sergeant Slaughter actor still alive?
I think so.
Wonder if he drives.
I think he had some kind of lame thing where he would play guitar in a video as himself. Not with G.I. Joe. It was like really cheesy.
Oh, didn't he have also? He had a suitcase, but also oxygen, right?
So you could say Oxycontin. Didn't he have a bunch of Oxycontin?
Hey,
No, but he knew where he could get them.
He knew where to get rid of him.
Life flag! Life flag!
Everybody's just live.
The dreadnoughts are all lining up there.
Yeah, before the headman, there was Lifeline.
The headman was the drug dealer, right? That was his whole thing.
Yeah,
They're like, okay, this will work.
Spark.
Was that in the comics?
He was. That wasn't.
Okay.
That was the cartoon. That was the '89 series where Falcon, who's a
Sunday.
notorious loser, he got hooked on Spark.
Please tell me that didn't happen. That wasn't Sunbow. Sunbow was it? That was post. That was after that, right? Oh my God. That was.
As soon as Duke heard about Spark, he was like, "Where's Falcon?"
My brother-in-law. The 25th anniversary edition of him came with multiple heads. That was really cool. Like
I know, because I gave them to your son, not realizing they're one of them. You could take the mask off until after the fact. I would have totally kept him if I knew that.
Oh.
But they came out with so many beachheads during that time where it's like, you can have that one. And I totally just gave him the coolest one.
No,
And
I see.
afterwards, I was like, you can take the mask off? How do I ask for that back?
that back.
Tomax and Zaymot, remember how they came?
That one was awesome.
Yeah, it was perfect, except they came with a piece of string that was like that long. It was like, yeah, and they show it in the commercial, I think. It's like, but you could get fishing line.
Yeah.
Like, if you had a spool of fishing line when they came out, your room just looked like Spider-Man. They just threw up in it.
Well, and
Like, I'm going to go here. I'm going here. Over there.
they just flew along together like the biggest gay duo. Hey, look who's back. Should we shoot him? Nah, they're probably just coming to talk.
Well, there's a way we can stop them. They're just getting annoying.
If only there was a way to stop the pulley. Crash in, figures scattering everywhere. Oh, well, at least they didn't have any backpacks to lose.
Yeah, no, originally,
What weapons they both came with like kind of a blaster pistol, right?
yeah, the big old pistol. I think it had a big scope on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just came with that and then that thing that they could hang on to and slide.
But with the ferret came out at that same time.
Yeah, it was like they should have came with at least one ferret,
Yeah.
but they didn't. Because that was like a big, like they were always on it,
Yeah.
unless they were sliding somewhere.
How do you get around?
Unless they were zip lining.
Main mode transportation, probably the quad. And really use the quad to get around. If we're up somebody's high, we'll use the pulley. We'll use the pulley.
Occasionally we come across a cliff. We can get our pulley.
Quick, change out of our fancy suits at the top of.
Grab your circus outfit. We got a zip
We
line.
got an important meeting at Cobra Industries. What was the name of the corporation?
Was it ArbCorp?
ArbCorp.
I think they've used that for so many things.
I loved in G.I. Joe, I think it was Renegades. They just decided to call it Cobra Industries. It's like, nobody would fall for it. Like,
I like Renegades. That's what I was going to bring up earlier. Like, Renegades is more like how I played.
okay.
It's like a group of people, and then they were attacking cobras, or being attacked by cobras, on the run, but instead of like... Because they kind of... It was a reboot, so they kind of like wiped out the original storylines.
Yeah.
Like Flint and Duke went to high school together and were rival football players that didn't like each other from back then. So I was like, oh, that's kind of what I do. I think that's me, that's Ray, that's Brad, and there's cobras, and we're traveling around. It's like,
It was definitely cool.
yeah. So the cartoon is like, this is totally just kind
The
of.
figures from that series were good too.
Some of them were,
They
some
had
of them
fleet.
weren't.
They were like at least a new idea. That at least they weren't big.
No,
They weren't like Sigma 6 or whatever the hell that was.
Well, it was weird because they were like half cartoon and half not. So some were like totally cartoony, like the show, like that animation, and then some were from that, but they looked more 25th anniversary. So it was kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
not to mention, because there was a Helix from that series.
Yeah, she looks totally like 25th anniversary.
And it was an awesome figure, too.
Yeah.
Like, that came with the cool, like, killer pistols that just fit in her hand perfect.
Yeah, because the, what's his name?
They look like Sig Sawyers. They're like, they look exactly like 9mm. You know, like.
All right, that's the end of this 82 to 86.
82 to 86? I think we touched on 87 even, didn't we? No,
kind of. We'll do that.
Okay.
When we do that, we'll do that with the movie.
We'll
kind of do like a series or wave/movie breakdown.
Yeah.
That was a fun movie, even though it's ridiculous compared to anything the comics.
It is,
cool,
but it was fun. Yeah. And I remember the moment. I remember getting on the school bus and having like just seeing it and just being like, that was nuts, and it being just a little bit older and like hadn't really cared about G.I. Joe for a minute, and then I remember this kid Chris Francis goes, "Did you see G.I. Joe this morning?" And I was like, dude, like it was like, that was what I'm saying, because it started off with like, the music was even different. Like there was like the same song, but it was like a beat bass line, and the intro was insane, and it was that intro was just absolutely nuts.
Yeah. So that wraps this up. Like, subscribe. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.